Today on Game Talk Live, we're taking a look at Grand Theft Auto V's massive success and sustainability, along with what makes Rockstar such a dominating force in gaming. Let's get right to it. I'm Andy Roman, and welcome to the 200th episode of Game Talk Live. Thank you to everyone who's joined us on the show so far. We look forward to hundreds more fantastic episodes in the future. Joining me now to discuss today's topics are three expert guests. And first up is Khail. Khail is a host and producer and creator of more than 20 shows spanning movies, TV, and video games. Welcome back to the show, Khail.
Well, congratulations on 200 to everyone on the team. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Also joining us is Chuck Meré, an Emmy award-winning filmmaker, actor, and YouTuber with an audience of over 1.7 million subscribers and 250 million views. Welcome, Chuck.
Hey, thank you for having me. Very exciting.
Yeah. And also joining us today, Dave Klein of the YouTube channel Dave Control. He's also a host for Obseb Entertainment and has worked as a host and producer for companies like GameSpot Universe, Polaris Machinima, and G4. Welcome back to the show, Dave.
So you're now in the 200 Club with Friends, The Andy Griffith Show, MASH, Happy Days. Just like them.
We made it.
So that's where you're at.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Dave. All right, guys, let's hop to today's first topic. According to leading media analyst Doug Crutez, Grand Theft Auto V is the most profitable entertainment product of all time. With more than 90 million units sold and a projected gross profit of over $6 billion, it has amassed more money than any film, book, or game ever. Rockstar's figurehead title is still pushing copies and keeping players engaged 5 years after its initial release, as modders, streamers, and passionate gamers continue to drive the game's massive success. So, is GTA 5 the ultimate representation of games as a service? Chuck, why don't you start us off?
I mean, what they've been able to do is absolutely amazing. You look at blockbusters, and they have a budget of over $200 million, and GTA 5 had a blockbuster movie budget. And due to that, and then due to the fact that they continue to service their fans for years, because I remember I got Grand Theft Auto 5 as a birthday present for my wife, like 4 years ago for the PS3, something like that. Maybe it was, about 3.5, 4 years ago. And I mean, they've been changing it, they've been updating it, and people just really love it. $6 billion. I mean, that's insane.
It's a pretty significant chunk of change, yes.
Yeah.
most definitely. And it survived new consoles coming in, too. I mean, you're talking about buying it for PS3. So, Khail, do you think this is the ultimate games as a service example?
Look, you're talking to somebody who bought the game twice. I bought it for the 360 when it came out, didn't want to miss playing it and have people spoil it for me. And then I bought it for PC, and I'd probably buy it again if they came out with the Xbox 3 billion, if they up the graphics. Look, it looks great. Does anybody on this panel not think that this game is a 10 out of 10?
Oh. Dave might give you a run for your money.
It's not my favorite game in the world.
I didn't say it was your favorite, but
I mean, I'm just not the biggest open world fan in general. Like, Grand Theft Auto 5 was fine, but it didn't blow me away. I was like, all right, yeah, it's fine, it's fun. I don't know. I honestly didn't finish the story, so I'm going to be a different person, I guess.
So to answer the question, it is a fantastic example of why video games should be taken seriously, along with these other forms of media. I mean, we've only just now gotten gaming awards closer to being right. All these other art forms have award shows that people take seriously. So hopefully now gaming will be taken a little bit more seriously as a place to put some investment as far as money is concerned.
Yeah. Can you think of, maybe Dave, you can answer this one. Can you think of another title that had a pretty solid single-player campaign and later added on an online component to keep the momentum going?
Oh, that's a good question. Because usually it's kind of separate. Because then I think of the components that keep people going with multiplayer, it's like a Call of Duty type of game. But yeah, I don't know. I have to think about that one. You'll have to come back to me.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I
I
ask because GTA Online was intended to be part of the launch of Grand Theft Auto 5, but didn't go live until roughly 8 months after the game was released.
I do think what you said, though, with it as games as a service, which is what a lot of companies are starting to try to push towards, I do think it's the ultimate example. And as we talk more about games as a service, which I'm assuming we're going to, I think that also brings up problems with it working for other people, because right now it's like the World of Warcraft, essentially, of games as a service. Like, this is the example of it working so well that other companies probably won't be able to match its success. But yeah, it definitely is. I mean, like, I like what they do with it, with all their updates. It's a well done job on their part with free updates for people constantly.
Yeah,
I think BioShock 2 tried to add multiplayer a little. They planned a schedule, like they scheduled to have it come out, but then it came out later. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody that likes BioShock 2.
Hey, BioShock 2
a lot of
was supposed to be
shade for
actually
BioShock,
legitimately
Khail.
really good for people who played it, but I don't know which came first. Yeah, and then I remember Assassin's Creed Brotherhood had actually a pretty fun multiplayer, but that was after Assassin. I think it came out at the same time.
You know,
as
Monster
Assassin's Creed
Hunter
Brotherhood.
just came out for console, and the PC edition of Monster Hunter is not going to come out for, say, another year, maybe, 9 or 10 months at this point. Do you think it was intentional on Rockstar's behalf to actually release online, say, this 8 months afterward to breathe new life into their title? Chuck, what do you think?
I mean, if it wasn't on purpose, then it was just amazing that it ended up happening that way. But I imagine that Rockstar, being an amazing company and as knowledgeable and as skilled at this as they are, it's safe to say it was intentional.
Yeah. So other titles get flack for bandwagoning and adding features or modes to their titles that are kind of trending at the moment. We're seeing that a lot with Battle Royale. I mean, how do you think GTA 5 has managed to avoid this type of flack? Dave?
Well, I think when it first opened, it was very organic to the game itself. When the online started, it was essentially just, here's the open world, but everyone's in it at the same time. Right, so I mean, I think that alone, and it's essentially a sandbox game to start with. It's like Minecraft in that way. Where with Minecraft, you could add any mode to Minecraft, and it's not really going to. Actually, Minecraft, there we go. That's an example. Minecraft was single player first. It didn't add multiplayer until later. That's a highly successful game that was single player first. But yeah, so Minecraft though, you know, you could add any quote unquote bandwagon mode to Minecraft, but it's not really going to matter because it's just a general sandbox game. Right, it's like you could add anything to it and it feels organic to the game because that's just what it is. I think that's true with GTA 5 as well, where it's just, since it's such a sandbox of a game, any mode could really work with it as long as it's still the same physics of the game.
Khail, do you agree?
Oh, did you see that gameplay they just played right now where it's like a car driving and then like 5 helicopters? Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why, you know, like people aren't worried about it copying anything. I can't remember a game experience like that. But more so, I think that it's a living, breathing city. You know, you can be walking down the street, like you could just be standing there and people, like you'll have NPCs walk by and insult you or have a fight with somebody else or put out a cigarette or get hit by a car. There's so many experiences to have that are already like really defined that it's not like you just making your own fun, even though you can go crazy and do that. I had a guy attack me flying on a motorcycle with a rocket launcher. So
So, I mean, speaking of modes, an article posted in February of this year detailed the abundance of modes, specifically that there are too many with little to no players playing them. Is GTA Online suffering from too much content and its player base is now spread too thin? According to this Kotaku article, there were 583 plus total activities you could do in GTA Online. Chuck, what do you think? Are there too many modes?
I don't know. I guess you get a little bit of what everybody wants. Obviously, it would be better to have a bigger community in a fewer amount of modes. But at the same time, you know, I guess everybody gets to try whatever they want this way.
Yeah. Does that make the game much more customizable, would you say, for the type of gaming experience you want?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. You know, like for one of the games that I used to play more than any other game in the world was Smash Brothers Melee. And one of the things that I didn't really like about going to tournaments was the fact that everybody had their own house rules. Are items on? Are they off? Are they high? Are they not? And you know, and do you play stock lives or is it a countdown sort of system? And because of that, it kind of turns you off to have to play with other people's rules all the time. So being able to customize it and make it your own rules, not only for yourself, but for your friends, I think adds a little bit of value to it.
So could GTA kind of avoid suffering from too much content by making modes limited run? Dave, what do you think?
I mean, that's definitely what Overwatch does, you know, but it also runs into an issue when you do that where someone falls in love with a mode and then you take it away. I think that actually part of its success might be in keeping these modes going, even though it has this overabundance. And that's definitely an issue when you can't have people playing like as many players, and maybe maybe you have a mode that needs 50 players and it's so hard to get 50 players playing a 50-person mode because there's so many different things. But at the same time, you might lose some player base who that's the mode they fell in love with, and that's why they got it, who might just say, like, okay, well, I don't want to play anymore because this is what I'm playing the game for now. So I think that's actually part of its success is keeping that many modes, even if it does cause issues.
Bud in chat says, I don't play any dedicated racing games, but racing in Grand Theft Auto Online is great. So there's one particular mode that is loved. So, Khail, are the new modes just a way of keeping the game fresh in the headlines and giving holdouts even more incentive to finally pick up the game?
I think it was a slow day at Kotaku when this article was made. I don't think having that many modes is a problem, considering there's a lot of people that spend a lot of time in there. I mean, how many times can you just like hit a car with a rocket launcher? These people are spending a lot of time in there. This is their go home and relax game. More modes. I mean, like, I wish Overwatch had to. I mean, you can go into the custom map thing on Overwatch and play any sort of mode you want. And sometimes you want to log on with your friends and have low gravity. You know, I don't think it's really that big a complaint. If they want to keep offering them, yeah, leave them out there. Let me put out the buffet. I'll just eat a little bit of what I want.
So for those interested in getting started on their heist adventures in GTA Online, what is your advice or recommendation for where to start? Chuck?
Oh, wow. Well, it's been a really long time since I've played online because right after I got GTA 5, I had a daughter, and luckily, she's getting older now. She's almost 4, which means that we can start playing video games again, which is something that I've really missed.
Being a good parent, whatever.
But the problem is GTA 5 is going to take a couple of years before she can play that. Right now, we're playing The Legend of Zelda. But whenever I did play online GTA 5, it was really, really clunky. I think it was just during the infancy, so it was just tough to get in. And then I think the last time I tried it, this was probably about a year ago, there were just crazy people just killing me for no reason. So that kind of turned me off from the game. So I may not be the best person to ask that question to, but hopefully it's just a lot better than it was in my experience now.
Khail, have you had more recent experience with GTA Online?
I played it last night, actually, in anticipation for this, and I had a bunch of people, because I live streamed it, so a bunch of people hopped on and played with me. There's a lot of wacky stuff that wasn't there when it first came out, which is both good and bad. There's a lot of hackers. Apparently, that's like a very problematic thing. But again, like I said, with people really starting to make the game their own, apparently there's role-playing servers.
Yes,
which
and
you
we
have
will
to
get
actually
to that.
apply for. Yeah, okay. Well,
That's the problem because you
wait.
play on PC, man. I mean, you can just switch to PS4 or something. Not as many hackers there.
It's true.
I would assume.
That's a good point. So, Dave, what would get you more interested in GTA, or even to Chuck, I mean, what would make you play online again or for the first time? We'll start with you, Dave.
Well, I mean, for me, I've just always been more of a single-player person in general. Like, there's certain multiplayer games I play. Like, I got really into Call of Duty for a while, Modern Warfare, when it first came out. But I think it's just one of those things where I'm just not the biggest open world person. So I did play GTA 5. Like, I did play it. But I don't think for me, I'm just necessarily the audience for it, and that's it. I like story in my games. And I know you can do the RP servers where you have the stories that people are creating or you're living and you're role-playing, which is great, and that's really cool. But I like solving puzzles when I play games or having a challenge or going through a story. So for me, that tends to be single-player experiences. And like I do play multiplayer on occasion for games, but I don't know. I like as far as your earlier question goes, though, how do you get involved in it? I'd say play the single-player first so you learn the rules of how to play the game in the first place. And then you can jump on the servers online and say, and at least you have that knowledge set going in. I'd say that's where to start for anyone new.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, I know that's still getting sales, and I do wonder what's going to pull new people in at this point, though, because it's interesting to me that it just hit this milestone now. And I wonder if that's more of a worldwide thing where it's still just slowly trickling to other countries. Because I do wonder, like, at least in the States, how many people are really still buying Grand Theft Auto 5?
I mean, that's a great question. Chuck, what would it take for you to get back into GTA or give the online mode a try again?
Well, I'm definitely a story person first as well. And playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online, in my experience, was just sort of a crapshoot with just all of the people out there just doing crazy stuff. And yes, hacking was a problem. I think to answer your question in a different way, I think what Rockstar can do to get me to utilize their products even online more is if it's more centered around story, and maybe story that you can go through with a group of friends, and most especially if they do that for Bully 2 or the next RDR, because I'm personally much more excited about Bully and RDR than Grand Theft Auto, even though I still do love Grand Theft Auto quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Fox in chat says, GTA is a gaming staple these days. Regardless of how many modes there are, people will always play and look forward to GTA content, as they should. So a pretty broad statement by Games Radar claims GTA Online could last you the rest of your gaming life. Such is in its ludicrous vastness. So variety and fresh gaming experiences aside, could GTA Online satiate any needs to buy a new game, considering how many different things you can do in it? Khail?
Was it another slow news day at Game Radar? Who is this person that can only afford to buy one game? No, I mean, you're going to have popular games that come out on top and totally draw your attention. Like, you're going to have Fortnite. You think Drake's still playing Grand Theft Auto 5? No, he's playing Fortnite now. You can have, it's going to be, especially with this whole live streaming era, people are going to want to play what the live streamers are playing. That's the best part about being a gamer, is getting to play different experiences, enter different worlds. To be stuck in the world of Grand Theft Auto where it's just Los Angeles, I mean, you can just come to Los Angeles. Just don't kill anybody. But yeah, no, I don't think. I think if you guess what he's saying is, I don't know what he's saying. Like, that's such a ridiculous statement. Sorry, Game Radar.
Well, I think, like, also with all those different modes, right? And that's what was brought up before, was, oh, there's so many different modes you can play, and that's why a lot of people would jump in. Is because, look, now we have free-for-all mode, or we have a racing mode, and you can do racing games and all that. So why would you need all these other games? And to me, I guess with Grand Theft Auto 5 and the way that I feel about its physics and everything, it's like, well, yeah, but it's almost, for me, a more muted experience of a full game that's dedicated to it. Like, I'd rather play Burnout Revenge, for me, and this is just me, right? I'd rather play Burnout Revenge than a racing sim in Grand Theft Auto 5, because Burnout Revenge is made to do that, and that's what the physics of it are for, and that's what everything about it's for. And there's nothing wrong with the Grand Theft Auto 5's version of it. I just happen to prefer this other thing, or I like solving puzzles, so I'm going to play a game like 999, or like an escape room game, and like it's something that I can only get playing that. So it just depends on what your tastes are at the end of the day. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is not like God of War, you know? It's not like it can't just offer every experience. This isn't Cooking Mama. Like, you can't get every experience you want from Grand Theft Auto.
Well,
but it's nice that
Rockstar might add a cooking mode, Khail. Never say never.
They're gonna have parries and riposte like Dark Souls, and I can do my Dark Souls mode of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yep.
It's gonna have it all.
Never say never.
Roll.
So let's talk about the modding community a little bit here. I mean, how has the modding community helped to keep interest in GTA Online? And has this customization been integral in keeping players interested? So I looked up just the GTA Online hashtag on Twitter, and nearly every single post was someone who had installed a mod and had their own custom character that they were either role-playing or they're just taking screenshots of, and they had the Twitter accounts for these characters. Like, that's the #1 thing posted on that tag. So, Chuck, do you think the modding community has been integral in GTA's success?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the way that you can create your own stories in somebody else's intellectual property. For me, though, I don't have a lot of experience with mods, but what I do know is that I must have watched this video of Trevor fighting with lightsabers. Like I don't know, like 10 times. It was on YouTube. It was like this really cool choreography, and it was done with the Grand Theft Auto 5 engine, and it was amazing. What a cool video, and that never would have come out if the creator of that video wasn't capable to modify it in such a way.
Sure. So, Khail, let's talk about role-playing for a second here with GTA Online. How do you think role-playing has thrived in GTA? Back in spring of last year, we saw explosive growth from streamer Sheriff Eli, who used to be a real cop and then role-played a cop in GTA Online. So it's amazing. If you guys have not checked out Sheriff Eli, so dedicated to his craft, if you will, on Twitch, and it's incredible and amazing. So, Khail, what do you think? What do you think about this role playing in GTA?
You know, that's funny. It reminds me of an episode of The Office where Dwight goes into Second Life and he's just himself. He's a paper salesman, and he's like, the only difference is I can fly. So, I mean. It's great. I mean, if you're looking at GTA, again, it's such a big, expansive world that it is acting like Second Life. There's so much to do. You can own a house. You can, do stock markets. You can have a whole garage full of cars. You're basically creating a life that you want. So why not also create the character you want? I think that's great. I'm very curious. I haven't gotten to do it. I've seen it. And I'm going to put in an application, and my friends and I have agreed to go as Suicide Squad and try and get into a game. We have a girl that's going to be Harley Quinn.
Why Suicide Squad, Khail?
We were trying to think of like a group of people that seems like they do well in the GTA world. I'm not going as Joker. I haven't figured out who I'm going to go as. But I mean, think about it. That's another reason for me to go in and try GTA Online again. So yeah, I think it's great that these things exist, and I'm glad people are seeing it as a world. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Red Dead Redemption is based in the Old West, which may not be aesthetically pleasing to everyone. Do you think you can attribute GTA 5's success to the fact that it's genreless? It's easy for anyone to pick up and grab because there's no bias against its setting. Dave, I mean, as someone that's maybe not a fan of this setting, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because for me, Red Dead Redemption is much more my type of setting than GTA 5. I think that's why... for me, maybe it just didn't attach to me as much. Like, I'd rather play the open world of Breath of the Wild because I live in Los Angeles. I'm like, I live here. I can go outside and see it. And, like, it was fun. That's part of why I picked up the game in the first place, was because I wanted to see their game representation of what LA was. But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it definitely has that feel where it's the Second Life thing that Khail was talking about, I think. It's definitely partially that, where you can have your second life in this other city. And you can do whatever you want, and role play, and that's all really fun and exciting. And GTA 5 is just so well built for doing all of those things. I think that's really its success. I'm not sure if the setting LA really. I'd say yes. Actually, let me go back. I think that yes, the fact that it's a modern day setting and it can be a person's second life, and there's all these things that you understand and know. But now you can do whatever you want and live whatever type of life you want, and there's no consequences. I think that's definitely a huge pointer towards its success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chuck, what do you think? Do you think that Red Dead Redemption could actually alienate a portion of the audience that's not interested in the Old West?
I don't know. I mean, Westworld is pretty popular, and like Western movies come out. Yeah, it's so good. So I don't think it alienates people who are looking to escape their lives. I think it's basically escapism, and GTA 5 may not actually work for somebody who lives in Los Angeles as much as it may work for somebody who lives in India and would like to see Los Angeles at some point, So it's just, I think all of these games are just as a way to be able to escape reality and do fun stuff that you'd never be able to do in real life. So I don't think it alienates a large portion. I mean, other than the people who are definitely not their demographic, which I imagine would be like 6-year-old girls or something like that, you know?
So let's see, with the success of a title that came out in 2013, do you think there's any desire or sense of urgency to create a Grand Theft Auto 6 or even Red Dead Redemption 2? Khail? I mean, look how look how successful it's been. Does Rockstar really need to create a new title?
It's such I think their problem is to follow up GTA 5. There's so much to think about. I mean, every single Grand Theft Auto has had a map that's been 4 times bigger than the last one. They're going to have to outdo this, create a whole nother city. They've done New York. They've done Florida. They've done Florida. They've done Los Angeles. There's so much to think about. And how do they make it different? Like, I'm sure that there's like, it's just so many meetings that they're going to have to go through. And again, yeah, they have a lot of successful properties that they can go on that people are hyped about. Red Dead Redemption. They made a ping pong game. They can redo that. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Yes, the ping pong game. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Dude,
like, for example, I feel like State of Emergency. Don't even talk about that game. I think someone like Chuck is gonna see Grand Theft Auto for his daughter before we see Grand Theft Auto. It's gonna be I think our fingers won't even work by that time.
Well, I
think they need to.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, if you think about something like StarCraft, how long was it before StarCraft and StarCraft 2? And I think part of the reason, not the whole reason, but I think part of the reason StarCraft 2 wasn't as successful as StarCraft 1 was because it took so long for them to make another one. And yeah, there was Warcraft 3 in between. But I think that it's one of those things where GTA 5's player base is going to slowly die off. And they need to already be thinking ahead and thinking on the next one, because the big moneymaker comes when they release a new one. So if they're not working on it by the time Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, or at least starting to work on it, I think they're making a huge mistake. And I think they're just losing out on potential money when it would have come out.
Sure. Chuck, do you think it's in Rockstar's best interest to release a new GTA or just add to GTA 5?
No, definitely release a new GTA. I think every time a new GTA comes out, I will at least try it, which means that somebody right now who is not spending any money on that property will spend more money as soon as he sees a completely different product. It allows you to go into a different environment. It allows you to showcase new graphics. And what's most important to me, it allows Rockstar to showcase new characters. And every single time, the GTA characters are just so unbelievably interesting, and you get to know them and you get to live their lives. And Trevor is awesome, you know, but I mean, you can get bored of any character. So it's good to have more story and more people to follow.
Yeah.
I think it's also, you think about something like Fortnite right now, where Fortnite is so huge and that's what's trending and that's what everybody's talking about. And we're talking about GTA 5 because it hit this milestone, but otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it. Like no one would be talking about GTA 5. I haven't even thought about GTA 5 in months or maybe even over a year. It just happened to hit a milestone, which is why it's newsworthy and people are talking about it. Everyone's talking about Fortnite, and people just end up talking about the next big thing, and that's what people get excited about and what creates new users and generates new people. And I remember when GTA 5 first came out, everyone was talking about it, everyone was hype about it, and there were tons of new purchases for it, tons of new sales, and they would need a new game for it to go through that cycle again. I just, like, as much as they're doing a good job with this whole games as a service thing with it, it still does have a lifespan, and I think it's a limited lifespan.
So what about the counter to that, Dave? I mean, there's still people paying $14.99 a month for a WoW subscription.
Yeah, but I think even if something like WoW is slowly dying down, and it's not as big as it was when it first came out. Like, yeah, they're still doing fine. They're still making a lot of money. But I just think with this game, I just think that, like I said before, it's something where it does have a limited shelf life, and by making a new game, you're just going to reinvigorate it even more so than games as a service with it.
All right,
Mandy, are you WoW shaming?
No, Khail. That was part of my life for a very long time, and that was pretty much all I played. So
You're clean, okay.
No, yeah.
But are you playing it anymore?
No. I moved on to other Blizzard titles. All right, it's time to take a quick break, but before we do, I want to ask our viewers to send us a message letting us know what topics you'd like to see us discuss on the show. We'll be right back.
We have 75 players in tier 3. Let me hear you make some noise.
Hi, my name's Todd. We're going to be playing some H1Z1, and a lot of you out there are going to be able to win some prizes by guessing when our guests die. Sasha, are you ready to go play some H1Z1?
Let's do this.
I think we've seen this story before.
We got a lot of guests tonight from all over the world. They're competing for a trophy, our Champion of the Night prize. Which one of you is going to be the best player tonight?
Anybody that comes in my way is done.
Get a helmet, get a backpack, get a rifle.
Or just hide and hope I get lucky.
He's feeling the earth. That's a very Native American approach to battle.
I give the people what they want to see.
Oh my God! Oh wow, he took a big hit. He got it!
Can you throw me in like the Norwegian server or like some place where they're just not gonna find me?
No.
Did I die first?
No one's died that early in the game ever.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Rockstar Games is one of the most well-known studios in the industry, producing some of the biggest staples in gaming since their start in 1998. The impending release of Red Dead Redemption 2 in September marks the company's first AAA title to be released in 5 years. Grand Theft Auto's sustainability has kept it at the top of the charts consistently, but could Rockstar cannibalize their own audience with the release of what is in essence an Old West version of GTA 5? Khail?
I think that some people may play Red Dead Redemption and maybe remember how much fun they had in GTA and maybe go check up on that. I know that a lot of people are going to be picking this up. Everyone's been waiting for this game forever. So will they be cannibalizing it? Sure, there's going to be a huge shift over. Again, you asked the question earlier if you're going to be alienating your audiences because of the whole like Western thing. I could see myself getting tired of it eventually, not for a long time, but I could see myself getting a little tired of, you know, having to ride a horse forever and, you know, like having to deal with this. And obviously you can't go balls to the wall in this game as much as you could in GTA, as far as we know. So, yeah, I mean, they'll cannibalize it a little bit, but, you know, anybody that really loves their GTA is going to keep going back, so.
I just want a Westworld part in the game where there are robots that you interact with. That'd be great.
Who knows?
Doesn't look like anything to me.
Awesome.
So is the length of development time for Red Dead Redemption 2 a good sign that the game will live up to expectation? Is this concept of it's ready when it's ready earn gamers' confidence? Dave?
I'd say so, especially with Rockstar's track record. I mean, I think if it was, it depends on the company, but for Rockstar, their track record has always been pretty spotless. I mean, there's a couple of games in there that weren't, but for the most part, it's been pretty spotless, and especially the games that took a long time to make, like Grand Theft Auto 5, even LA Noire, which I know people had issues with. That took forever, and I really enjoyed LA Noire. So for me, when I see that, at least with them, with Rockstar, I'm like, cool. I trust that it's going to be good. I have a good feeling about it.
Chuck, do you think these long cycles build up too much hype and then sometimes ultimately fall flat?
No, I don't think so. I mean, not with Rockstar, at least. They've never really disappointed me. If anything, they've hit the bar that I thought that they would hit, but most of the time they surpass it. I personally didn't think anything of Bully. I didn't think that it was going to be that great, and then it turned out to be one of my favorite games ever. You know, GTA 5's always been good, and even LA Noire was a good game. It was my least favorite, but still. I mean, what are you comparing it to, you know? But Rockstar they set the bar really high.
So is not including a PC release missing out on substantial hungry audience, i.e. me? Khail?
I agree with you, Mandy.
It's a substantial portion of the Mandy audience.
Right here, the Mandy audience.
And, yeah, no, I'm absolutely with you. I am primarily a PC gamer. I get to sit in this wonderful chair. I can watch a program on the other screen, or listen to my music and not have to be stuck on my couch and like slouching like this. But yeah, no, I think that's a big thing. Anytime one of these GTA games comes out, we're always waiting for the PC. A lot of us PC gamers, and it's always like we keep scratching for news about it. And then when they interview the producers, they're always like, okay, well that's great. When is the PC version coming out? And then also, people get excited about GTA for the mods. I'm sure we would love to see a Bigfoot skin because with the last Red Dead Redemption, it was you got to find Bigfoot. So I think there's a lot of stuff that like potential that could be missing if it was on PC. So I'm Team Andy.
Great, as everyone should be. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
All right. So is it worth it, like we talked a little about earlier in the show, is it worth it to build up the console audience first and then release the PC edition as another marketing beat for the brand? Dave?
I think it kind of almost revitalizes a game sometimes. I remember when Dark Souls had the same thing where it came out first to consoles and then the PC release came later just because it's Japan and they don't care as much about PC. Except for now that they're realizing there's a lot of money in PC. There was like all of a sudden like all this hype around it again. It was like all this. It was almost like the game was released another time. It got another like bout of press, another bout of hype. There were all of a sudden like this new wave of players. People who played before on console got back into it. Some people bought another copy of the game so they could have it on PC because they ended up folding to it and being like, all right, well, I bought it on my console, but I'm more of a PC person. It's actually kind of smart in a horrible way. It's like, I mean, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but if like the PC releases 6 months later or something, I bet a lot of people who just folded and bought it on console who are more of a PC gamer will end up buying it again. And I don't think it's going to hurt it.
Is 6 months?
To Dave's point, I bought it twice for that exact reason. Like I bought it when the 360 version came out, and then the PC version came out. And not only that, they can bump up the graphics. So that's another reason for you to buy it on PC after you've played it on the console. So yeah, I guess from a business standpoint, that makes sense, Dave. But that doesn't make me happy.
I'm not saying that. That's what I was saying. It's kind of like it's a bad thing. It's not like a good thing, but I could see why they would do it from a business standpoint. True. And I don't know if it's on purpose, but if they are doing it on purpose, it's like devilishly evil, but I get it.
So Dave says 6 months. Chuck, what do you think is the magic time frame to release a PC edition after the console release? Because the first thing that pops into my head is Destiny 2 and how the PC release was just a month after the console release. And I think that was way too soon. So, Chuck?
No, I mean, 6 months sounds about right. I guess you get some time to really hit the console market and make the PC market hungry for it. And 6 months doesn't seem like that much to wait for something like that. So it's not going to make anybody mad or anything. That feels right. Yeah, but I'm not an expert on the matter though.
Yeah, I mean, I say 6 months from like a smart business standpoint of the game still relatively fresh, but it's still not so far removed that people have forgotten about it. I mean, like if I'm more of a console gamer, just to put that out there. So like to me, it's not a big deal. But if there was a game that I really wanted to play and all I had was a PC, I'd obviously want it as soon as possible as a gamer. But just from a business standpoint, I think probably like 6 months is probably a magic window there where it's like it's still sort of the hype and people are still going to be excited and you can re-hype it. But people, I don't know, people aren't going to be too mad yet. So
Rockstar seems to subscribe to the same method as Nintendo, wherein they release fewer games overall, but almost all games they release are of superior quality. Why do you think more studios don't work the same way? Chuck, why don't you start us off?
Well, I mean, it's just follow the money, the more you release, the more money you make if your product is at least on par with whatever else is out there. But at the same time, you got to pay attention to your brand and how people look at it and what people expect from it. And Rockstar is Rockstar. You know what Rockstar is. When somebody says Rockstar, you know what you're getting, the quality, and that is just as important as just being able to put out product and having people buy over and over and over again.
Khail, do you think this is a case of other studios working harder and not smarter?
they get set up like these deadlines by other people to try and get stuff out. I think Rockstar has the luxury of just getting to spend a little bit more, to put a little love in there. You know, they've got to create like unique radio stations and have like these dynamic NPCs. But that's the reason why we buy it. That's the reason why we play it so long. That's the reason why we know it. That's why everyone has a different story. So yeah, I think spending that extra time is the reason. Like, make a good game, and that's why people will buy it. You know, make a good game and people will keep playing it. So yeah, that extra time, as much as we can get cranky on the internet that we haven't heard anything from Rockstar, I think it's worth it. It's always worth the hype, and I think that's why we're okay with the hype. Like you asked, is it okay to delay it for the sake of making it better? Yeah, absolutely. So if they say, you know, Red Dead is coming out in October and then they don't come out till spring, I'll be like, all right, I'll save my cowboy costume in my closet for now, but it's coming out. It's coming out in spring.
No, it's coming out in September. Red Dead.
Oh, it's coming out even earlier?
It's September. So is Rockstar's willingness to release edgy, controversial games tied to their success? Dave?
I say sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it is as much anymore as it used to be. I think it used to be a bigger deal than it is now. I guess like at this point with a lot of games, I feel like a lot of things have hit that mark, and I know. Yes, whenever it's in the news, I think that's going to help it sell. So in a way, yes, anytime that someone does a news story about look at how horrible this game is, honestly, it's going to make sales go up. You look at the game back when Mortal Kombat came out, and it was in the news with the SRB along with that sleepover game for Sega CD, which I'm forgetting the name of right now.
Night Trap?
Night Trap, yeah. So Night Trap
actually...
good
job,
It took me a second, but I got there.
Interestingly, Night Trap had hardly any sales at that point. It had like maybe 50,000 sales, 100,000 sales. After it went into the news cycle of being this horrible game that kids shouldn't buy, 500,000 sales. It like 5 times the amount of sales because of the controversy around it. So I do think it definitely helps more so than it hurts. But I think we're also getting to a point with games outside of current political stuff going on. For the most part, I think it's just at the point where people don't care as much anymore because we're so used to that stuff. So I don't know how much it still helps, but it certainly wouldn't hurt.
Chuck, you nodded your head when I asked the question. Do you want to elaborate at all?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it helps. I think simulated violence is definitely something that people buy video games for. They want to see it. I remember playing, my favorite Resident Evil is Resident Evil 4, and one of the biggest reasons why it's my favorite is because the kills are just so unbelievably brutal. They just make you go, ugh! And then you gotta go again, you know, you gotta get past the guy with the chainsaw who's about to decapitate you. I don't know, I'm a big horror fan, I'm a big action movie fan. Anything with swords or you know, firearms or anything I really like, especially in my entertainment. Obviously not so much in real life. It's a shame that the political climate is the way that it is. But as far as simulated violence, you know, people don't love Terminator 2 because, you know, it's just a nice romantic comedy, you know. Like the people that love that stuff really love that stuff. And yeah, I think it helps the success of a product, especially when your target is, 18 to 35-year-old males, perhaps?
Sure.
Let's be honest. It's probably more like a 13 to 35 target.
Well, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So,
all right.
What does it say about us that the title of this game is literally the name of a crime, Grand Theft Auto, and it's made more money than anything else ever? Khail?
This game has built itself off of its edge. You know, like to answer the last question that kind of relates to this one, I don't think Grand Theft Auto would be where it is today if in the time periods that it existed in previously, it didn't have something edgy about it. And the first one, it was like, you can blow up all these people, that's crazy. And then they like the next one was like, oh my God, there's like cocaine in it. And the next one, there's like hot coffee mod. And yeah, like we've been desensitized when we see Grand Theft Auto, we're like, that's Grand Theft Auto being Grand Theft Auto. But I think the name has just, you don't even think about it anymore. I like it. There's so many worse crimes to do than steal a car. That's like nothing now. You pull out a guy and you just don't think about it. You pull out a rocket launcher. I think that's rocket launcher kill a dude would be a worse title, I think. But yeah, it's gotten to where it is based on its edge. So I think that works again in its favor. So.
All right, guys, we're coming to the end of our show, and I want to thank all of our viewers and our guests for being here. Tell us your final thoughts and where people can find you on social media, and we'll start with Khail.
It's shocking. It really is shocking to me that Grand Theft Auto is still selling so well because of the single player. I jumped onto multiplayer, and I bought a shark card to get some extra stuff, but it's mind-blowing that it's the single player that's still selling well. Again, a solid single player mode, so I'm glad that they invested the money in it and they created great characters and a great world. So I'm glad that it's Grand Theft Auto that's up there along with Minecraft and Tetris. So that's great. I'm Khail Anonymous. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that would be cool. That's where I promote all my stuff if you want to find all the other things and say hello. So great. Thanks for having me on your 200th episode.
Thank you, Khail. All right, Chuck, your final thoughts and where people can find you online.
I love Rockstar. I think it's awesome. I can't wait for Bully 2. As far as Grand Theft Auto 5 is concerned, I'm wondering if they actually made or would have made $3 billion, except everybody had to buy it twice. And you can find me at Meister Chuck on Twitter or Zombie Go Boom TV on YouTube.
Perfect. Thank you, Chuck. All right, Dave, your final thoughts and where people can find you online.
Yeah, well, Grand Theft Auto is not my favorite series in the world. I'm glad that it was Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto that hit this milestone over one of the many series and franchises that just release every single year. Because to me, this is much more of an achievement to really put in a lot of work for one game and see that be what succeeds is, I think, a great thing for the industry overall. So, yeah, and you can find me at @DaveKlein on Twitter, or Dave Controls my YouTube channel where I do gaming stuff, or GameSpy Universe and NerdWire. I host and produce and make things. So any of those places.
All right, thanks, Dave. And thanks to everyone who watched, commented, and shared the show. I'm Mandy Roman. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and watch Game Talk Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. See you next time.